Okay, we're good to go. All systems go. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Andre Ng. I'm owner and president of House of Knives. I'm really pleased to have Jeremy Rodriguez here from Leatherman Tools joining us all the way from Portland, Oregon. How you doing tonight, Jeremy?
Doing pretty good. Excited to be here. Excited to talk to you. Excited to talk to everybody, answer whatever questions I can.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. We've been doing a lot of our vendor partner live events, and it's always fun to do international ones, even though it's just psychological. The great thing I love with Leatherman is we've been, I don't know if anyone told you this, I believe we are the second or third oldest customer of yours in Canada.
Yeah.
37 years ago.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a remarkable story. If you can tell everyone, tonight we're basically going to be talking about what makes Leatherman so outstanding, how you guys have stood the test of time over the decades we've been working with you. I had the opportunity to visit the factory just the past fall. That was my second visit in about 25 years, and it was just as impressive last fall as it was 20 plus years ago. So tell us your background a bit, Jeremy, in terms of your position at Leatherman and how long you've been working there.
I've currently been working at Leatherman for almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years in actually 2 days. It'll be officially 8 years of working at Leatherman. I started at Leatherman back in 2012 in what we called previously as the knife blade cell. So I was making a lot of the knife blades for Wave, Charge, Wingman, just you name it. I was making knife blades for it. And I kind of just progressed up to the position I'm in now, and I currently hold the title of product manager for Leatherman. It's a very exciting position because I kind of get to see what's going on with the industry in multi-tools and be at the head of it. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. The thing that really amazed me when I visited the facility in Portland there is, and maybe we'll talk about the history in a little bit, but I think it ties a lot to Tim Leatherman, the founder of the company, in terms of how humble he is as a person and what a simple person he is. But I was just amazed at the dedication, I think, in terms of, you can tell the thought process behind Tim, not only the thoroughness of what he does in tools, but even his desire to employ the many people that he does, all from the Portland area, and keeping it all U.S. Made, where, over the decades, I've seen a lot of different manufacturers of multi-tools and cutlery move certain parts of their manufacturing overseas.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the biggest things I'm most proud of about working for Leatherman is just how committed we are to our employees and to the individuals that work at Leatherman. And you say Tim Leatherman is a fairly simple individual. I think that depends on your definition of simple, because he's simple by his standard of need and what he is looking to accomplish in life. But he is just one of the more complex thinkers that I've ever met. And he has little things about him. He has this jacket that has all these custom pockets, and he's always thinking about product and trying to make it better and increase the quality of the product. So he's very focused on making sure he's delivering the best product and also keeping local Portland, Oregon, U.S. manufacturers employed.
Yeah, no, it's great. You can tell he's similar to his brothers Stu that I've worked with in the past, right? They're simple and quiet on the outside, but you can tell the wheels are just churning inside, right?
Yeah, always.
Right. Hey, maybe for those of obviously we've got a lot of huge fans of Leatherman Tools, what's not to like, but I just love this story. Maybe from your perspective, I'd love to hear from, before we get into the product, Jeremy, in terms of how Tim got started and how he created the PST tool, which was the first ever Leatherman tool.
Yeah, so Tim and his wife Cho were taking a trip through Europe, and Tim bought a Fiat in Amsterdam, and throughout his adventures throughout Europe, he kind of just ran into constant troubles with the Fiat, and he was kind of writing down, taking some notes and things that he had to do. And he had a kind of small collection of tools, a Swiss Army knife and a few other things. And he wrote down this idea of putting pliers in with a Swiss Army knife and combining the two. And so he came back from that trip, and he kind of devoted his life to that. He actually devoted his life to that. And it took him about 8 years to come up with the PST. And, the PST is completely 100% his design. And it, through trial and error, he got it to where it is today. And then he stands on the quality of it. And that was kind of the basis for Leatherman right there.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'd be curious to know how many fans out there know what PST stands for. If you know what it stands for, send us a comment. And yeah, it basically stands for Pocket Survival Tool, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Jeremy?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, quite remarkable. Anyways, how about we get into some product, Jeremy? Let's. I thought it'd be fun, obviously, tonight. I think for you guys in the 30 plus years I've been involved with you guys, the free technology that I had the privilege of seeing firsthand before it actually hit marketplace was quite incredible. But before that, maybe we can talk about a few products that people don't really know or think of Leatherman for. Quite often people only think of you as the pliers, but you guys have been really innovating in terms of pushing the envelope of how to reinvent yourself, so to speak. So one of the fun tools I'd like to talk about is the tread tool. Do you have that on there, Jeremy?
I do. I have a tread here. If I can see it here. The tread is actually one of our most feature-dense products that we have in Leatherman. 29 total features. It was the brainchild of Ben Rivera, who is our current CEO and president. Genius when it comes to multi-tool design. But he actually came up with this idea when he tried to take his family to Disneyland and they took away his Leatherman. And he wanted a way that you could always carry a Leatherman on you or always have everything you need on you. And this is probably the most feature dense thing you could put on your body as far as tool compact goes.
Yeah, it's very unusual. I know when this was first shown at SHOT Show, my greatest memory of this was seeing Steven Seagal happen to be in the Leatherman booth, and he was getting fitted. I don't know if you happened to be at that SHOT Show when he was there. He was with one of these. Did you hear the story about that?
I have heard the story, and I don't remember if I saw it directly, but I've definitely seen him in our SHOT Show booth a handful of times.
That's a great thing with SHOT Show. You get all kinds of star power there. I know Lou Ferrigno has been there a couple of times. You get some of the pro wrestlers in there. But I remember Steven Seagal, his wrists are so massive. His wrists have to be larger than my biceps easily. And the tread tool, I mean, you can see this thing. There's a lot of extra space here, even if I close up the clasp on my wrist here. Steven Seagal, they were custom fitting a tread tool for his wrist, adding on links because this wouldn't fit his wrist, to give you an idea.
Yeah, so that's kind of the nice thing about the tread is that it's adjustable to the user, so they can take or add links as they see fit to fit their wrist and also fit whatever their combinations that they're trying to go after. Yeah.
So the materials used to make this, I know you're using all types of different alloys in this, Jeremy. What are the main components?
This is just a 420 steel.
So it is, okay. Mm-hmm. Are you using some aircraft aluminum too? Because I'm surprised for the girth of this, how light it is actually.
No, it's mostly steel. We don't have any aluminum in there. It has to withstand all the torque and all the strength requirements we put under that tool.
Yeah. And the great thing is I saw you had the black one there. I've got the silver in my hand. You can still buy as an accessory. If, God forbid, you actually want to use this as a watch, you can buy the Swiss watch attachment to fit in here, correct?
Yeah, we have this in a few different versions. So you have the tread, you have the tread LT, you have the tempo, all out there with different variations of the tread. So the tempo is just an added timepiece on top of the tread. And the nice thing about the tempo is that it's a watch design that can also withstand the torque load that you might potentially put this under.
Wow! Oh, cool. Yeah, no, it's super cool. I love the premium package that you guys have started to do in all your products too. You look at the tread box that comes in. It's something nice enough that you would expect a jeweler's watch to come into. So, well,
yeah, and it kind of made sense for us. We really wanted to beef up our packaging. Our tools are premium stuff, and we wanted to make sure our packaging represented it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Next item here, I'd love to talk about. We get so many people talking about the Raptor. You got one there in your hands, I think?
Sure do.
Maybe you can walk everyone through the Raptor in terms of its different design features.
Sure. I'm gonna change the angle of the camera here so you guys can get a better picture of the camera or a better picture of the tool. The Raptor is one of the tools that isn't a plier-based multi-tool that is just great on its own accord. It's just a pair of shears that was designed based off of the needs of military medics and what they would need in the field for, basically emergency response. And so it has a few different features, but the main feature here is that it just has some really, really powerful, robust shears that can just cut through just about anything you can throw it at, from a leather boot to a plastic cast. It has a lot of different features that go along with it that really complement the powerful shears. But one of the main ones is a strap cutter. It has an oxygen wrench. You also have a soft metal ring cutter, so it'll cut gold, silver, any metal that's not hardened. Has a little glass breaker back here. Let's see if you can see it back there. So that's a carbide glass breaker for if you have to break into a car window to get somebody out. Okay, say the car's on fire, which is, if you go to leatherman.com and you go to our blog, you'll see tool tales on there that talk about how people have used the Raptor or use Leatherman tools in such a way that we actually designed for it. So it's kind of validating in that way.
Hey, Jeremy, just on that note, we sell a few different knives, rescue knives, as well as devices for breaking glass. And it's funny how many customers come into our stores and people say, why the hell would I want a glass breaker on my keychain or in my car? And an amazing stat that I heard here in Canada, I don't know if it would be similar in the US, but 10% of all drownings that happen in Canada happen in people's cars.
Yeah, so I carry, I actually used to carry a Z-Rex, a Leatherman Z-Rex in my car for a long time, but now I carry a Raptor in my car just for that reason, because with the strap cutter, you can actually have quick access to the strap cutter while the shears are closed, and it slices through a seatbelt extremely quickly without putting yourself at risk or cutting yourself. And then also you have the access to the glass breaker. So yeah, I've thought about that. I keep it in my car for kind of that same exact reason. If not for me, then it's always nice to have just in case I stumble across the incident that I can be prepared for.
And just the shears are so thick. It's got to be about a 3 mil thickness in terms of the blades, and they've got that almost like a micro serration built into them, right?
Yeah, I don't want to misquote you on how thick the actual blades are, but we have the micro serrations there, and they are definitely more robust than what you're going to see on the market. There's a few shears out there that are, on par with how thick our blades are. But the typical medical shear that you're going to find are stamped sheet metal with some shape into it that adds a little bit of rigidity. But over time, those are going to wear out on you, and they can't handle the same output that these can.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love how compact they are too, right? If you need to fold it up.
Oh yeah, yeah, compact and easy to carry.
So the sheath is very particular in terms of it can store the Raptor closed or open position depending on how fast you need to deploy it, correct?
Correct. So yeah, if you open up the shears there, the blade will actually slide through the bottom of the holster. And if you leave them closed, they will actually slide right into the holster as well.
Yeah. The nice thing is I've forgotten to unlock it for security, right? You just have to pull back on the back there, releases, and it's quick.
Yeah,
so,
correct.
No time is lost. Yeah, great shear. Awesome. Moving on, let's talk about your most popular tool, right? For decades, the Wave tool has been, without question, the #1 volume. Probably, without hesitation, I'd say the world's most popular multi-tool, bar none.
Yeah, it's been the top dog for a long, long time now. It's just one of those I would call now great classics. It's kind of hard to beat. We've basically perfected the manufacturing of this tool, and it's just the tool that essentially is the standard for all multi-tools out there on the market right now.
Yeah, and I love when you came up with this is the Plus edition now, because you basically discontinued the regular Wave now, correct?
Correct. We added the replaceable wire cutters here and upgraded a little bit.
Yeah. One of the things I've always admired about the Wave is the fact, like I have in my hand here, right? I can access all the key tools. And I know you guys have done tons of research over the years in terms of how people use their tools and what they use it for. But, the most common tools that everyone uses on a day-to-day basis are the blades. So these are all able to open easily with one hand with a liner lock mechanism, open and close. Yeah,
that was actually one of the big improvements that inspired the Wave was getting access to implements from the outside versus something like the PST right here, where it's all, you have to open up the PST and all the implements are on the internal. So that's kind of what made the Wave what it is today, is by kind of addressing that fundamental need.
Yeah, I was impressed when I was at the factory that you guys have a huge department dedicated just to building this one multi-tool.
Yeah, you know, we focus a lot on just building the quality through our factory. So every tool kind of gets its own special little bit of attention.
So Jeremy, speak to the replaceable plier head. That's a great feature. I love that you guys added. Now, you don't have that on all the tools. What percentage of the tool lineup has replaceable pliers now on them?
I don't have the exact percentage, but I would say over a third of our current line has the replaceable wire cutters. It's considered kind of a premium option, and the reason is because instead of damaging your jaws, your plier heads, say if you're cutting fence wire or whatnot, or putting your plier heads at risk, if you're going to really try to abuse it, you can actually just put these replaceable wire cutters through whatever abuse you want, and they're hardened 154 cm steel, so they can take a lot. But they're easy to replace. Instead of sending your tool in for warranty and getting it replaced, you can just actually acquire a set of replaceable wire cutters. It's a lot less hassle and a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Over the decades, the most common thing we had customers come in. Some people are just still hard on their tools, and it's great to see them being used, right? Because you want them to be used as a tool. Is that clumping that eventually happens, right? If they try to cut something too heavy gauge, and the pliers kind of stick, and then it's kind of a shame from even just the environmental standpoint to replace the whole tool. So I think it's an awesome feature. Great. So that's the Wave. Awesome. How about we jump into the free technology?
Okay. Well, let's go with the P series. So the P series was kind of the next evolution of Wave, and similar to Wave, we kind of looked at what the biggest points of feedback or the biggest comments we were getting on the Wave or any of our product line throughout history prior to introducing this. And some of the biggest complaints was the use of fingernails to have access to any of the internal implements. So when you go back to Wave, if you wanted to access any of the implements on the inside, you have to use your fingernails to get it out.
Oh yeah.
So we really wanted to figure out a way to address that. So with free, you don't have to worry about using your fingernails. Everything's really easy to open. Everything's one-handable, which is kind of nice. I think it's slightly overlooked in the market currently, actually. A lot of people don't think about how often when you're in the middle of a project, you might have to clamp something down with one hand or hold a light bulb with the other hand, or do something where one hand is busy, yet you have to access your tool. With free, you have full access to whatever tool you want, and over time, you become really familiar with getting access to any implement. So you don't have to really kind of search for it anymore, as like you would on a normal Swiss Army knife or one of our older models.
Yeah.
And so
the clumping of you get guys with the huge fingers. It's tough enough to text with them, but trying to get out the little awl where the screwdriver in there on the O2s is quite a challenge. Yeah,
and with this, they're designed to clump, so they'll deploy clumped. You just deploy it clumped, but they all feel a little bit different, where you can select them on your own and select the exact implement you want just by feel.
Yeah. So how long was the development process to come up with the free technology?
About 5 years from start to finish. There was a lot of technical hurdles that we had to get over. One was the locking mechanism, how we can accomplish a lock that allows all the implements to all lock and all open from the outside. And then also, once we developed that locking mechanism, we didn't have a great way to hold the handles closed. The handles, without any sort of kind of support or lock that would kind of hold them closed, would just kind of flop open, which kind of gives free that nice. Sorry, I'm having difficulties with holding both cameras here. That nice free motion. But so we had to figure out a kind of way to hold the handles closed, and that's where we came up with the idea of introducing magnets into the actual handles, which are just underneath this little plastic plate here, which holds the handles closed, keeps your tool secure, and provides zero rattle in the tool.
Yeah. They're incredibly strong, actually, and I love just the sound of it. You know, when you're opening and closing the tool, it's just got that certain click to it, right?
That was another designed-in feature. We tried to make Free be very haptic friendly, so we wanted you to hear the tool work and just by both feel and sound know that your tool is locked and secured when you're ready to use it. So you have that nice click when the pliers are deployed, and then you also hear the clicks when you deploy the implements or stow the implements. It's the same kind of clicks. So it's just kind of like, it's one of those things where you have a lot of feedback, haptic feedback from the tool that provides that sense of security that you're safe and ready to use it.
I know a lot of guys who have had your tools for over the years, just, you know, by the thousands of times they've used it, it loosens up and they can freewheel with one hand over time. This is no different, I assume, after utilizing it. It's going to be very easy to maneuver. Yeah,
except out of the box, you have that kind of broken in feel that you would typically get with a Wave after, say, 5 years of use or 1 year of complete abuse. However you treat your multi-tool, you know, it takes a while for under normal use to really break in the tool where you have that kind of free flinging motion where somebody can rapidly access the tools. And a lot of consumers were telling us, I really like that feeling, especially when they send it in, say they had a broken jaw tip or a broken knife blade, and they sent it in for warranty, and they would say, just replace the knife blade or just replace the jaws, but don't change anything else about the tool. And it's because they already broke in the tool and they didn't want to change that feeling. And so we really wanted to try to capture that feeling in the Free line as well.
Yeah, it's like having a good baseball mitt, right? You'd hate to try to have to work in that leather all over again.
That's exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great job. I love the pocket clip, everything. You know, just the pure fact that you can access everything from the outside of it just saves so much time, right?
It really does. You going from sheath to deployed implement in a matter of seconds is like a big game changer, especially when you're constantly using it.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the pliers, you've got the P2 and the P4, right? The two models.
Correct. That was the P2 there, or P4 there, and we have the P2 right here. The main difference will be the outside implements. You have a saw, serrated knife blade, and then you have a fully straight blade here, and then a pair of scissors. Versus on the outside of the P2, you have a combo edge and a pair of scissors.
The thickness isn't that noticeable, actually. Is there any thickness difference? It's very marginal, hey? Like I would say.
There is a bit of a thickness difference, but it's
so hard to tell.
Significant. Yeah.
Yeah, like if I hold them up and I show everyone here on camera, I mean, it's almost, you know, I mean, you really have to look hard to decipher which one is thinner or thicker, right? It's not a big difference. But to get that extra, those tools in there is great. I love the wood saw. I mean, I know some guys will even use it on bone, but it's incredible how sharp they are, and they'll go through a 2x4 without any issues whatsoever.
Yeah, that's the wood saw is one of those ones that Leatherman's kind of known for. How good that saw is. When anybody actually uses it, they realize, oh man, that's a really good saw.
Oh, I know. It's shockingly surprising. Even the metal file, I would say that I've used, it's surprising how well they perform.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Which one's the better seller, P2 or P4? You guys sell?
They both sell really well. P4 is pretty popular just because it has those extra features.
Yeah, I'd say for us, P4 is more popular. I love the casing you guys have too. Very, very mobile. So back in the day, you guys used to do a lot of leather cases, right? But now everything's kind of gone to the synthetics, like the nylons.
Yes.
Do you guys still offer leather in any of the models?
Yeah. So we currently with Free, you have the gray nylon sheath. Gray is only right now with Free, but actually, this just recently we launched the Ainsworth sheath, which is actually a premium vegetable dyed top grain leather. It's an extremely nice sheath. This is one I carry when I carry a sheath is this Ainsworth sheath. And what's nice about this is that just like your tool, it's going to kind of patina over time and kind of wear into the tool, and it form fits the tool. I really like the sheath. It's extremely robust and extremely nice, and it has that nice leather smell.
Oh yeah, that looks so premium. That looks nicer than any cell phone case I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a really nice sheath.
Nice. Oh, great! I'm glad to see. I know you guys just launched the colors. I'm glad you brought some to show everyone.
Yeah, so we have evergreen, crimson, and then also navy blue, and they're all kind of inspired on some of kind of Oregon's natural wonders, I guess, or colors that we have. You know, we have a very vivid and beautiful coast range, and then we have, a lot of people don't know this, but we have a lot of wide plains and desert area that just has just brilliant colors throughout eastern Oregon. And then, you know, the Northwest is famous for all of its evergreen rainforest, and so all of these colors kind of play into that, and just a little bit of a heritage back to Oregon's colors. But this is the T4 platform, also free, also incorporates magnets, same kind of idea where everything's one-hand accessible, easy to use and easy to access, but without the pliers. So it's got all your implements that you might use. It's a easy to carry, everyday kind of multi-purpose pocket knife, but with some color.
Yeah, the nice thing with it is that, you know, again, for its size, it's incredibly light. I've got the original silver one here.
Yeah, it's extremely light.
The colors are made from all the same materials, just the outer scale has been anodized, or how's that process done?
It's actually Cerakote, so it's a very familiar technology in the both knife and gun industry. Yeah.
Actually, when I was at the factory, they were showing off. You've got your own Cerakote machine, because I know a lot of the guys in the industry will farm it out and have someone else do it. But the fact you guys have your own is awesome, right? It gives you total flexibility in terms of what you do with the machine.
Yep. Yeah, it gives us a lot of flexibility, and it's just one of those things where you see something that needs to be done. We try to grow our factory and hire more people.
Nice. Okay, great. So the colors, do they only come in the T4? They also come in the T2 as well?
They will only come in the T4 for now, and also on the K4 as well.
Okay. So the T4 is actually larger. We've got the T2 here as well. You've got one there as well? Yep.
So it's a little bit larger size-wise in width, but fewer implements in the T2. T4 has a total of 12 implements. T2 has a total of 8. This is 4.3 ounces. This is 3.3 ounces. So the T2 is just a little bit less feature dense, more just kind of pocket knife forward with a few essentials, screwdrivers, awls, just kind of the bare essentials.
Yeah. No, it's a nice feeling. Now, I noticed on the T4 you've got the built-in clip, but the T2 doesn't. Can you purchase the clip separately?
You can purchase the clip separately. You actually have these 2 holes here that actually can just are for the clip, and it comes with the screws and the pocket clip come with come together, and you can just bolt them on yourself.
Yeah, nice, excellent. And from there we move on to the K series, which K being for the knife, got the K2 and the K4.
Yeah, we have the K4 and the K2. They're both gray on my end here. The silver ones you have there are the X version. So what they have is the combo blade versus the complete straight blade. The main difference between the 2 and the 4 will be the additional of the scissors in the K4.
Okay.
But like the T2, they're kind of just they're very knife forward, with kind of the essential implements that go along with it to complement any multi-tool. But in this variation, it's a fairly robust and heavy-duty knife, kind of capable of handling whatever you're going to throw at it.
Yeah, I always describe the K series as a knife first with a multi-tool secondary, versus in the past it'd be more multi-tool with a knife thrown into it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes even people come in looking for something like a Swiss Army knife, and they want something a little bit more robust, where it's knife first, the tool secondary, and this is a nice blend of all that.
Yeah, you don't see too many multi-tools out there, especially pocket knife multi-tools that have such a large knife blade out there.
Yeah.
You typically only see this on just a fixed or folding knife blade.
So between the 50/50 edges, like the ones I have in my hand versus plain edge, what do you guys sell more of?
That's actually about 50/50. Some people just like the aesthetics of the straight edge and don't necessarily see a need to have a combo blade like what you have in your hand.
Yeah.
Others see the usefulness in having that kind of combo blade when it comes to like cutting rope or any cordage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say even our stores, when we analyze all the sales of all our different cutlery, it's pretty split. I would say maybe it may be 60/40 plain edge. The key with plain edge is keeping it sharp, right? I mean, a plain edge blade can cut as good as any serrated blade, but the serrated, of course, is always a little bit more forgiving if you're cutting any line or rope and you haven't maintained it to its optimum sharpness. So it's still going to grab that line and cut it well.
Correct. And what's nice about the Leatherman blades, all of our blades, for the most part, are 420 high carbon steel, and so they're extremely easy to maintain, and they hold the edge extremely well for what they are, and they are. So, say you bought only a straight edge, it's really easy to maintain the blade over and over again. So you can put it through whatever paces you want to put it through, and it'll be able to take a beat and keep on going.
Yeah. Now, on that note, Jeremy, the quality of materials you use for every implement, from a screwdriver to a saw to a knife blade, are you using the same material across all the different tools, or do you specify it based on its usage?
99% of the time, it's all the same materials. We design a lot of our implements using 420 stainless steel, and we make sure that they can withstand whatever abuse you're going to throw at it.
Yeah. No, that's great. I know sometimes you guys do limited runs and editions on select pieces, like we had our hands on some of those gorgeous Damascus carbon fiber, were those charges, I believe, right?
Correct. Yeah, we did those Damascus carbon fibers not too long ago. Essentially, that was a normal charge plus, but with a kind of new Damascus blades, and then also carbon fiber scales.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I'd love to see you guys do more kind of sprint runs, if you will, more exclusive uniqueness that really shows off the creativity of what you guys can do.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled. I'm hoping to do more of those as well.
All right. Nothing special you're going to announce tonight for us?
No, nothing tonight. No, but just I would always encourage everybody to kind of keep your eyes peeled on what's coming next. I mean, I think over the next 6 to 9 months, Leatherman's going to be fairly busy, and I think you guys will be happy with what we got coming out.
Nice, excellent, good. So what? So I'm just curious, Jeremy. I always tell people we're a bit of almost like a knife nerd. We always make a point to visit the different factories that we partner with, whether it be in Europe, Asia, US, whether it be a kitchen knife factory, sport knife factory, because it really gives you that understanding and appreciation of the craftsmanship, the quality, and the work that goes into making it. Can the average consumer go in and do factory tours? Do you guys do that for consumers?
Yeah, it's been one of those things where we've had factory tours, then we haven't had factory tours. As far as I understand right now, factory tours are back on, and we welcome people to come in and request a tour. There's a whole tour scheduling kind of pathway that we go through, but we encourage individuals to come in and check out our factory.
Awesome. Is that something you recommend they book ahead of time, I assume?
Yeah, I recommend everybody booking ahead of time to kind of to make sure that you're in the appropriate appointment slot, and that there's a tour guide associated with it.
Yeah. No, that's great. Hey, we had a couple of questions come through social media here, Jeremy. Someone was just asking about I believe their P2 blade. So that would be a 420 HC quality blade as well, right? They haven't been happy with the performance of it.
Yeah, it's 420 stainless steel. I'm curious to know what exactly their performance issues that they're having with the blade. It's no different than the same steel. It's the same steel that's in the Wave or the Wingman, some more popular models.
Yeah. Now, as you know, one thing I should clarify, because we get a lot of confusion within our stores too. When people hear 420 right away, they almost blank out because obviously there's different levels and qualities of 420. 420 HC, which stands for high carbon, is different quality than a regular 420 that some low-end manufacturers use for things like throwing knives or fillet knives because it's very low carbon content. So maybe, you know, I know sometimes people have that perception right away. So when you work with a 420 HC, now we're getting a little bit more technical. What type of Rockwell hardness are you hardening the blades to?
The hardening the blades, I do not want to misquote you there. So I apologize. I don't have the answer for that right now. What I will say is that we use 420 high carbon steel because it's a very manufacturable steel, and we produce a ton of knife blades. It's also a very user-friendly steel. It holds an edge extremely well. We do what's called a contra testing for edge retention for all of our blades, from 154 to S30V to 420 steel. And from the difference between 420 steel and 154 is not negligible, but it's not hugely significant, especially when you consider how friendly the 420 steel that we use is in sharpening.
Yeah, probably if it's most, you know, I'm just going by major manufacturers. I know, like, for example, Buck, they use 420 HC in majority of their blades, and they're getting Rockwell hardnesses in that 57, 58 range is pretty common. Good. Do we have any other questions that came through? Yeah, we got one more here. We're just, by all means, guys, this is the great thing with the live, and you've got the brain trust of Leatherman here. Hey, it'd be fun. Have you guys ever considered, Jeremy, having like a contest where people could send in their submissions and ideas for the next big new multi-tool?
We haven't had a contest, so to speak, but we definitely get a lot of ideas from consumers or individuals throughout the world about ideas for new multi-tools or modifications to existing multi-tools, and we encourage those to come in because sometimes they actually spark ideas that turn into tools or turn into accessories.
Yeah, there's never a bad idea, right? Just
no,
look at what you did. Someone just asked Jeremy, and I could speak to this maybe, where's Leatherman located in Canada? Now, Leatherman manufactures in Portland, Oregon. They don't have any manufacturing here in Canada, but as of the last few years, they do have some limited distribution that happens out of British Columbia here out west, and then also out east in Ontario, but they don't officially have any manufacturing or offices here per se. I assume that's pretty much the case around the world, correct, Jeremy? You guys are, as far as I know, are only manufacturing in Portland, Oregon, then distribution partners around the world.
Yeah, that is correct. We manufacture only in Portland, Oregon, and then we have a kind of a sister headquarters in Germany as well.
Yeah, awesome. You guys must be pretty much in every country available around the world.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I'm often surprised where I get letters from consumers on where they came from and where they got their Leatherman, and surprised to see Leatherman made it out that far.
Yeah. Another question we had here, Jeremy, is let me just see. How does the knife series do every day, and how suitable is it for camping, I guess, is the question.
The K series, I think it's a great camping knife. It's kind of just got everything you might need for a camping knife with a little extras. It really kind of depends on what kind of camping you're doing. If you're doing kind of through hiking where you're really trying to carry lightweight, maybe this isn't the tool for you. But if you're camping and you camp out of the back of your truck like I do, and say have some photography gear, or you have a little extra gear, this is exactly the type of the tool you want, because it can kind of deal with those situations that might be unexpected, which is kind of like our whole mission, is to deal with those unexpected moments. But say, your stove is loose, or your tripod is falling apart, or you got to cut some fishing line. This is basically everything you're going to need for those situations.
Yeah, the one implement I wish they had put in the the T4, or the would have been a saw, right? Because, for example, like I mean, I love the robustness of the flathead screwdriver you've got here. I mean, it's great, almost like a pry bar. If people could, I'll just hold it up here, get a sense and appreciation, the gauge of steel that's used in this flathead here. It's incredible, right? You could get a lot of torque on that. But a wood saw would be my wish, I think, if you guys can do that. Just, I use reference of a Swiss Army knife in terms of what we sell, and one of the most popular Swiss Army knives is the Huntsman. It has been for decades, and that's the one that combines the scissor and the saw. Because when you're outdoors, right, whether it be wood or used as a bone saw, I think the wood saws we stated before is phenomenal.
That's an excellent piece of feedback. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie to you, we did explore that when we were kind of exploring different variations of the T series, but we kind of landed on what was at the time the most popular feature sets for consumers, and we came out with the T2 and T4, and perhaps you'll see it in the future.
Yeah, Canadian edition, right?
Canadian edition, yeah.
Jeremy, someone else asked if you could speak to more specifically about the differences between the 154 CM and 420 HC, in terms of how do you decipher and decide which tools to use the 154 in versus the 420 HC?
It kind of depends. There's a lot of different factors. The main reason why we use 420, like I said earlier, is it's a very manufacturing friendly steel that holds great edge retention. The main difference between the two is going to be your edge retention. And so when we look at using 420, we typically want to use it in those tools that we think we're going to get a lot of high volume in. And then we typically put the 154 CM in the tools that are really going to get a lot of abuse or a lot of use, or really need that 420 or the 154 the S30V steel to go in it, just because it's gonna use a lot more than maybe the 420 steel is, and it's going to require a little bit more attention than a typical 420 steel blade would.
Yeah. I know you guys have done some real premium blades and other pieces in the past. So like you said, usually that's reserved when you use carbon fiber and some of the other exotic materials. Mm-hmm. We had someone ask about the Topo Scala tool. Is that something that's I hadn't seen of it? I've only seen it online. I've never seen it in person. Is that something available in Canada as well?
I believe it might be still available in Canada or Leatherman.com. But that was a multi-tool we did a few years ago, and basically we put a topographic map onto a green Scala tool and put it out in the world.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I've seen it there. I mean, majority of from what I understand, I mean, even in our stores and online, we carry the most popular sellers. But there are some. It's incredible when you actually go onto the website and you go back to history of past models and whatnot, how many different models there are.
Yeah, I have a drawer back in the office of just tool after tool of everything from the beginning to the end of where we're at. And then also, if you go down some of the main hallways in Leatherman, there's kind of portraits of all of our old tools and the years they launched and what they look like. So there's history all over the place. Yeah,
it's a bit of a museum. Final question we have here is someone wanted to get your opinion on the tool pack replacement kits.
The bit kits?
Yeah, I assume that's what they're talking about. Yeah, it must be bit kits.
I think that, so Leatherman does, we do let me pull out a bit real quick. So as most of you guys know, Leatherman has the flat bits and that's by design. And that is to make sure that we can fit. Oh, sorry, my shirt's getting in the way. We can fit as much features into a Leatherman tool as possible. And so Leatherman has these flat bits to make sure that we maximize space. And so we have these bit paddles that carry each one of these bits. And what's nice about these bits is that they're two-sided. So you have this, in this case, you have a Phillips and a flathead, but then there's a whole range of other bits that we sell with the bit paddles, from Torx to Hex to Robertson bits, just everything under the sun. And what's nice about that is that you can then carry your multi-tool with a bit driver, with a couple bit paddles, and have extreme functionality with a multi-tool that you wouldn't typically have on you day to day. It's like carrying a toolbox in your pocket or on your hip. And our sheaths, we have multi-pocket sheaths that allow you to carry those bit paddles with your tool, and so you can carry all that functionality in one small package.
Yeah, I know the biggest comment we get here, of course, being Canada, is, our customers wish, what doesn't come with a Robertson as standard instead of a Phillips?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where we put in what is most common, and most common right now is Phillips. Yeah,
excellent. Well, we got a lot of questions that come in. So someone's final question, this will have to be, so they're just wondering, the 154 CM in their charged titanium, they're finding it extremely hard to sharpen. And maybe I can speak to this. It's always that trade-off. We always explain to customers, there's kind of, the main two criteria when people are considering buying a knife blade a knife blade or say a multi-tool blade is everyone wants good edge retention, of course, but with that, of course, comes a trade-off, because when you talk about the four kind of main elements of how to evaluate steel, edge retention is definitely at the top of everyone's list. There's corrosion resistance, there's toughness, durability, and there's ease or difficulty of resharpening. And I always explain to people, it's like trying to buy a car, right? You have to decide as a consumer what's most important to you. It's hard to go walk into a car dealership and ask for a car that gets 50 miles to a gallon yet has 400 horsepower, right? It's you're trying to find that happy medium between performance and fuel economy. In knives, it's the same thing, where you can have something with better edge retention, so it's got a harder Rockwell hardness, if you will, but the trade-off is it can be a little bit more brittle. That's why when they evaluate knives, toughness and durability is different than Rockwell hardness. The two aren't 100% correlated, but the trade-off is how hard it is to get that edge back if you lose it. So, 154 isn't what I'd consider as, it's above average steel, but it's not one of the high premium steels. So, if you're having a hard time getting the edge back on it, then I would look to, sharpening in terms of what type of abrasive you're using to try to re-edge it. Maybe you're not using something abrasive enough. Sharpening stones, if used wisely and correctly, are still the most effective things to re-edge knives, but it doesn't, not everyone's got the dexterity and the knowledge to know how to do that. And that's why even for us, our sharpening service is a huge part of our service, because not everyone has know-how or skill level to get that edge back like a factory edge. Anything to add on that, Jeremy, when it comes to 154 CM?
No, I think you got it right there. I was just going to say it's a little bit of a harder steel, so it's going to be a little harder to sharpen. And with a little bit of hardness, you get a little bit of brittleness, and it's just about managing those trade-offs.
Yeah. So one thing I would just add to that, like in kitchen knives, more people are used to steeling their knives to maintain the edges. But for whatever reason, I find in the sporting community, and multi-tools will include this, guys don't think about, pulling out a little pocket sharpener and just, giving it a few strokes, just maintaining that edge on their knives. It's kind of the other extreme where most guys will use their knives on a daily basis, and then one day it's like, oh my God, this thing's dull as hell, and how am I going to get the edge back on it, right? So one of the most popular devices we sell is a little pocket pen sharpener that's has a diamond abrasive on it. It's got a nice radius to it, so you can even sharpen your serrated edges. And I think the pocket sharpener it's like $15, but it's compact, fits into your pocket easily, or into a toolbox or toolkit, and it's great. Now, do you guys offer any type of sharpening devices, Jeremy, for your tools?
We do not. We do not offer any sharpening devices.
Okay. Maybe an idea for a future model.
Yeah, what do you got?
Right, a little pocket sharpener that pulls out. Why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Anyways, that's the time we have. I think we're right on schedule here. I just want to thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for your time, your insight, your knowledge. It was awesome.
Yeah, no problem. I think appreciate you having me on here. If anybody has any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to leatherman.com or Leatherman Canada and let us know what you guys comments, questions, feedback. Always happy to hear it.
Yeah. On a final note, Jeremy, I know one of the things that people just love about Leatherman is the warranty, right? I mean, unlike a lot of people, you don't do a lifetime warranty, but for all intents and purposes, it's
pretty close.
Long enough, yeah, 25 years. So, how do you what do you tell people who have any warranty issues? You guys have service depots now, correct?
Correct. You go through, follow the instructions on the applicable website on Leatherman Canada or leatherman.com, and it'll lead you to the proper warranty official, for lack of a better terms, and it will guide you to who you got to send your tool to, and we'll make sure that we get your tool repaired and back to you. And if it has sentimental value, we'll always make sure that we get that exact tool back to you.
Yeah, you guys do a phenomenal job with it. Very similar to Victorinox at Swiss Army. I know, and when I've been to the factory in Switzerland, they have, I want to say they must have 36 people working there just repairing knives that get sent to them from all over around the world. So both you guys do a phenomenal job with that, like you said, because there's sentimental value in a lot of these tools people have had for decades. So they don't want to lose that. So yeah, keep up the great work. And we're proud to be partners of yours. One thing that people don't realize, Leatherman, like us, is a family-owned and operated business. You guys aren't some huge corporation. And I think it really shows in terms of your care, in terms of how you make the tool, and how you service it and warranty it. So keep up the great work.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and see you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeremy.